Hi, it's Emily with Emily Talks, and I am here to speak today about positive affirmations and what they are and how to use them properly. So, positive affirmations are going to be similar to my concept of talking about taking the bean and putting it into the can. That type of positive affirmation is cognitive versus verbal, where I am taking a very specific idea. I am repeating that idea to myself so that I could be able to strengthen that thought in my mind and create a new neural pattern in my brain, or a new neural connection in my brain to strengthen that idea or that thought. So when I do the one with the positive affirmation, the cognitive positive affirmation of zeroing in all of my intentions onto this idea of a little bean and placing it into the container that I would, the jar that I would call the thing that I want to work on, like praising myself, feeling good about cleaning my home and doing chores, or feeling positive about getting out and exercising, or praising myself and loving myself even when I feel incredibly imperfect. So all of these different things are cognitive positive affirmations. So verbal positive affirmations are a little bit more surface level, because instead of trying to target a particular I guess they still target a particular thought, but it's not necessarily in relation to a particular situation. Especially if you listen to like some of the YouTube videos that just go over positive affirmations. They're just all over the place, and it's several different ideas that don't necessarily connect to a particular situation, but just to a particular idea. I'm gonna link some in the comments. I want to kind of try to link some that are not quite as ideal as I would suggest, as well as ones that I think are pretty amazing. There's one in particular that I used to listen to that most of it was pretty good. Some of it was kind of silly. So the issue with positive affirmations that I recognize that I think is really important is that I can't tell myself something that I deeply disbelieve, even if it's not proper idea. If I have this deep dissonance, this cognitive dissonance between the affirmation that I'm saying, even if I would love to be in that place where I believed it, if I deeply don't believe it, I am just invalidating my experience. And I think that validating my experience is the way that I come to know this world and come to know reality, and that I act according to my thoughts and my values. There's an example in the philosophy that I follow, that if you see a jolly fat man in a red suit and I think, oh my goodness, that's Santa Claus, and then I hear from people like Santa Claus doesn't exist. If I don't come to the conclusion and the realization that there was somebody else there who wasn't Santa Claus, it can end up creating this cognitive dissonance where it's like, well, I had this experience. I know I had this experience. So how can I, integrate that I've had this very, very, very clear experience, but I'm being told that it wasn't real? How do you, integrate that? And how do I come to accept my own experiences. The thing about accepting experiences is that it's a rational pursuit. The way that I have made changes in my life is by thinking deeply about ideas, so that when I go to make decisions, I fully understand where that decision is coming from. And I'm able to consistently make decisions based on those principles, because I'm not just following a set plan of what to do in certain situations without deeply understanding what the issue is, so that I could apply it to every part of my life, and maybe challenge other ideas that I have that aren't the exact same but kind of sit next to each other, and I can be able to delve deeper into other ideas. So for instance, if I deeply feel that I'm not worthy of love because I'm concerned about the cleanliness of my home, I'm concerned about, like, especially since my cancer treatment, the changes that have happened to my body. I'm going to be really bare here, like incontinence. I'm 35 and I deal with pretty bad incontinence. How could I expect that somebody wants to be physically close to me and I have to deal with this really gross thing that makes you think of babies in diapers? Like, ew. And, just thinking about, what kind of mother am I? What kind of worker am I? Things that would really tie in with worthiness of feeling love, like I am worthy of love. Well, there's this ideal that I have for myself that I may not be achieving. And if I am disappointed in myself, deeply disappointed in myself, where I don't even feel worthy of giving myself love, whether or not that is an accurate description, you have to think back to, if I am just denying that Santa Claus exists, but I've seen this jolly man in a red coat, I have to deeply go into those ideas, particularly when they're deep rooted, to be able to pull them out slowly and meticulously, because I need to honor my experience, and I have to go through and figure out, like, okay, why am I still worthy of love even though I don't even feel worthy of giving myself love? It's not just going to happen from repeating to myself, I'm worthy of love, when I haven't addressed things that are important values to myself about changing my life, becoming a person that is a person that I want to be. Not just, impositions from society, or, not meeting my family standards, not being able to fit in with, the statistics of a dating app that I'm part of, that people are going to want to talk to me. And not necessarily that any of these things are things that go on in my life, but just examples of what that looks like. Is that it doesn't have to be something that's superimposed from somebody else or some other place, but to recognize that I have standards for myself that I want to achieve. And that's a beautiful thing, to know that there's always something that I could work on. There's always something for me to achieve, and that I have the power and the strength and the resilience to go forward and achieve my goals, and to be able to deeply explore what my goals actually are, to ensure that I'm not just accepting on impositions from other expectations that I've had in my life, and instead deeply connect with what's important to me. So when I would hear affirmations like, I'm worthy of love, that's tough. One of the ways to address those positive affirmations that really don't align with my deepest thoughts and my deepest cognitions, even the ones that I know I want to change. I will modify positive affirmations so that they make sense. One of those positive affirmations that could be able to replace, in particular, I am worthy of love, is that I have hope that love is possible for me. That gives honor to the experience of feeling so unworthy as I currently am, but also honors that I can change and that I have hope. And that is why I'm repeating the positive affirmations, is because I truly believe in something. I truly want change. And like, even that is a positive affirmation. I believe that I can change. I believe in myself. I believe that I have a future full of beauty and joy and value that is accessible to me. Opportunities are there for me. I just need to seek them out and pursue them. So there's lots of different ways to be able to reword a positive affirmation in a way that makes sense to you. Listening to some of the positive affirmations, and I'm actually going to link a really, really silly one if I could find it, from Jeff Bridges. It includes stuff like, when I walk into a room, that I imagine every single person is eagerly waiting to hear what I have to say, that when I'm in a room where everybody's saying happy birthday to somebody else, I imagine that they're there to praise me. It's just so bizarre. It totally throws away the reality of a situation, and tries to make the positive affirmation completely divorced from reality. And goodness freaking gracious, how am I ever going to know? How am I going to calibrate when somebody actually enjoys my company? How am I going to know what I have done and changed in my life and in my brain if I am just affirming this fantasy that doesn't actually exist? How does that allow me to interact with the world around me in a way that's meaningful and fulfilling? It's just bizarre. On the other hand, there is one of the affirmations that I really loved listening to. I used to listen to it every day when I would drive to work and when I would drive home. The length of the video was about 1 hour, and 30 minutes of that was driving to work, 30 minutes was driving home, and it was pretty perfect setup. I really enjoyed these particular affirmations. There were a handful that I didn't, but it was particularly about doing better at work and embracing my strength and embracing my ability to resolve conflict. So it wasn't the typical affirmations that one would try to connect with just for mental health. It was about functioning and being powerful within any position, as far as somebody who, exchanges with another who's a trade partner. So if you think of a trade partner, that means, an employee at work. It means with coworkers. It means with teachers. It means with your neighbor. It means with your partner at home. So any sort of trade partner is somebody with whom you exchange value. And that one was a super cool one for me because it was more specific to an idea that I wanted to change, instead of being sort of this mishmash amalgam of, I feel happy about myself. I feel so positive about myself. Everything in this world is just, flowers and rainbows. And by repeating it to myself enough, I'm going to believe it. Like, what is that? So, positive affirmations, they are super helpful. Just be very, very careful to know how to properly employ them so that you're not denying your experience. And I feel that starting from a place of, listening to your experience, for me, that has helped me better integrate doing better for myself and challenging underlying ideas without just saying, that feeling that I have isn't real. I need to ignore it. Well, when I felt my worst, I was like, well, you know what? This feeling is so real. I'm just BSing myself. I'm just trying to pretend like I'm going to be this okay person. It didn't actually help me address changing the way that I think. It just kind of would give me this moments of living in a fantasy world, is how I felt, that I couldn't connect with, that was actually untrue, that would allow me to function for the time being until, my distressing symptoms would come up, and then I would throw everything away, particularly with the mental health symptoms that I deal with. Black and white thinking is a huge part of that, where sometimes I feel very excited and like everything is so beautiful and wonderful. And then other times, because my emotions are so radically different, I can't even remember what it felt like to feel good. I felt like it was all a lie. And then again, if I went and felt better later, I would say, oh, that's just me being dramatic. So it took me quite a few years, a lot of years, to undo that thinking, and using positive affirmations in the correct way, for me, has been super important. So that brings me to the particular positive affirmation that I talked about with my EFT tapping video, where I would say, even though, and put in the distressing thing, I totally and completely accept myself. And you can change up the totally and completely accept myself. It can be, I am worthy of a better future. I can still make changes in my life. I invest in my future. I am hopeful for change, hopeful for love. So there's a lot of different ways that you can word that. If I totally and completely accept myself isn't the right one for you, saying I totally and completely accept myself is a sort of radical acceptance, to say I am as I am at this particular moment. Changing this moment is outside of what I can control. And saying that, I accept this moment also means that I accept how I have reacted in that moment, or how I have chosen my behavior within that moment. And I can choose change in the future without labeling myself as a liar, a failure, uncaring, a drama queen. The labels don't matter. Self-acceptance is a way to say I am exactly as I am, my strengths are as they are, and I can be able to make changes according to the base of who I am, and I accept that person who I am, so that I could bring that person to the next step and the next level of creating a wonderful life for myself. So in that particular affirmation, the reason why I want to go over it is the part where I add in what is distressing for me, what is the situation that's causing the anxiety. So that makes it more pointed. Like I was talking about the positive affirmation cognition that I have with the beans going into the jar, is very purposeful, and it addresses a particular thing that I want to think about, which, I create that representation with the jar, and then my intentions and my actions and the way I want to feel with them are concentrated into this small concept that I place within that jar and strengthen that. That is directly connecting, feelings and cognitions with an event, or an experience that is outside of my own feelings and thoughts about something. So it's strengthening that connection where I experience the thing and it goes back to say, "Ooh, I'm happy about this and I'm excited about it and I feel hope and I feel joy and I feel, like I'm a worthwhile person." All of that connection between those two things is being reinforced every time. And that's literally a physical neural network that ends up expressing itself. So part of the issue with affirmations, particularly when you listen to them in the YouTube videos, like I said, they're kind of just all over the place and they're not focused. So going through the affirmation of even though X thing is happening, I totally and completely accept myself, that again is identifying the stimulus and creating a new thought connected with it. And over time of repeating that over and over and over, there is a new connection, a new neural pathway that is being created and strengthened by that affirmation. So, one of the times that I used it was to get through, I was in my early 20s, right before I had my son, and I was experimenting with some friends, doing things that kids do in their early 20s, and I didn't have a great experience, and my friends were off having a great experience, and I'm sitting on the couch freaking out, and I'm just like, I can't not be in the state of mind that I'm in because this is going to last for X many hours. It's kind of really silly, and I'm going to be careful about what I mention because YouTube and judgment that could impact my channel. I really don't care about sharing it. I just care about the impact to my channel itself. So I was in this situation feeling mentally and physically ill. And I just kept saying to myself, and I did this tapping because this one was one of the easiest ones for me, and versus going across my entire face. And I was saying, even though I'm having a horrible time right now, I totally and completely accept myself. I said that over and over and over. And it kept me from being physically sick, which was great because I was just out of it. And it brought me through the situation without, being so freaked out. So that was super cool. So that was connecting that. Another way that I would use this skill would be, even though I am feeling angry and frustrated with my son, I totally and completely accept myself. Even though I feel like I shouldn't have tripped over that chair, and now I feel that everybody is hating me and judging me, I totally and completely accept myself. And that one is actually really great because even if other people judge me, I totally and completely accept myself. That will actually work back to nobody really judges me anyway. Everybody's already full of their own life. So kind of first getting to the point where I care about who I am kind of will get, that has gotten me to the place where I recognize that other people's judgments don't matter, but then also they don't think about me. Everybody else who's around me is as absorbed with themselves as I am with myself. And thank freaking goodness, nobody cares if I've got a stain on my shirt or, I tripped on something or whatever the case is. And if they do care, like in a negative way, wow, that person really isn't focused on what's important. Um, like they are not my issue. And their life is probably pretty miserable to have to go around and find the imperfections in others. So I hope this really helps in sussing out what is a positive affirmation, and how to properly go, or at least for me, go about seeking out affirmations that actually make an impact in your life, as well as how to progress through affirmations over time to make the best, most significant impact. I have a ton of other really fun video ideas that just come to me as I talk about other things that have come up in my day. So every now and then I'm just going to delve in to a topic that came up from a more broad video, because so much of what I have done to help change my life has come in, integrating a particular concept and then moving on with my life, and then realizing later on, like, oh my gosh, this concept is intertwined, and it becomes an even deeper integration. So at times I'll talk about something that I'm currently thinking about, but it actually carries back to things from years and years ago. So like the tapping and the positive affirmations, all of those things have just become more powerful for me over time by giving myself the time to fully understand them. So really, really excited to share with you guys. If there's anything that you pick out of my videos that you're like, hey, I would like to know more about that, or, this is my experience, can you speak a little bit more to that? I really, I know I'm sharing so much of my own experiences, hoping that that is something that's similar for that you have experienced. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional. But if you want to share something with me that you would like to delve into, and I have that ability to do that, imperfect as I am here for connecting with you. And that's really important to me. So anything that you have to share, leave down in the comments. Make sure you check out that description for helpful links, because I'm not actually going through the affirmations with you. That will be super helpful. Enjoy the rest of your week.